My name is Ed Clendenin. We're here at the Tulsa Air and Space Museum at the 2009 376 Bombardment Group's annual reunion. It's September the 4th, 2009, and I'm here with
Gordon Rosser. I was a sergeant. My serial number was 42050-955.
and what capacity did you serve in the 376?
I was a tail gunner, aerial gunner.
Aerial gunner, tail gunner.
Yeah.
And now, going back, were you drafted? Were you enlisted?
No, I volunteered.
You volunteered. And was it right after Pearl Harbor or?
No, it was, I turned 18 in September of 43.
Okay.
And I didn't like school. They offered me a war diploma, so I took it and I joined the Air Force in December of 43.
Right after high school?
Yes.
Okay. And then they sent, did you have to volunteer for the Army Air Corps? Or?
Yes, I did volunteer.
Okay. And how did you end up being a gunner?
Well, I took basic training in Greensboro, North Carolina. I went to a provisional squadron for a while. Then I wound up in Fort Myers, Florida, Aerial Gunnery School. Graduated. There was a little bit of time before I was assigned to a crew. We trained in Boise, Idaho, the 10 of us. And we were issued a brand new B-24 in Topeka, Kansas. And it was, I'm not exactly sure of the dates. It was the beginning of 45. And we flew it overseas to Newfoundland, Azores, Marrakech, Tunis, then southern Italy. And the plane was taken away from us, and we went by truck, went down to San Pancrazio and to the 376.
So going back in that time, where were you when the crew was formed, or what town or what base did the crew form at?
We were, I believe it was Lincoln, Nebraska.
Lincoln, Nebraska. And who was your pilot?
Daniel H. Whitaker.
Okay.
Very nice gentleman. He was married. He had a young daughter, 5-year-old daughter. The co-pilot was Donald Husinger. He was married and his wife was pregnant. And then 8 other people.
Okay. And so you picked up an airplane eventually and then flew it overseas?
That's correct.
Okay. And did you name the airplane or you just?
No, we never got around to that.
Okay.
I guess we knew it wasn't going to be ours anyway, so.
Did you wave it goodbye when you landed and they took it from you?
No, not really.
Not really? Okay. And so you joined the 376, you said in January of 45 or December of 45?
Well, we flew over, actually we left Bangor, Maine, March 1st.
Okay.
And landed in Newfoundland. And then the weather was so lousy for 17 days between the Azores and Newfoundland, we left St. Patty's Day finally.
Okay.
17 days.
45.
I'm sorry.
St. Patty's Day of 45.
45, yes.
Okay. And then so you got to San Pan in March, late March?
Late March, 45.
March. And then you flew, how long before you flew your first mission?
It was quite a while. There was a lot of basic orientation, flying around, pointing out points that we could spot to orient ourselves.
Uh-huh.
We finally flew, I forget exactly the date. The first target was a railroad bridge in the Brenner Pass.
Oh, okay. And then, how many missions did you fly with the 376?
2.
2? And then,
it was Easter Sunday that we flew the Brenner Pass.
Easter Sunday.
Easter Sunday.
Okay.
And then the Wednesday after was that massive 98% of all the B-24s in Italy was up in the air, and parts of our bomb group ran out of bombs, so they filled up beer cans with rocks and sand and threw them out. There was a kitchen sink somebody found, and they threw that out.
Really?
Over the ground troops.
Wow.
In northern Italy, the German ground troops.
Because the Germans at that time were still in Italy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, the 376 flew its last mission in April 15th, I believe. And what did your crew do after the,
Well, we were put on the West Point, and we came home.
oh, so you didn't go to another bomb group?
No, I did not.
Now, were you still then as a group?
Yes, we were still as a group. We were supposed to, well, we did get a 30-day furlough,
Mhm.
and we were supposed to be retrained in the B-36 and then sent to the Pacific.
Okay,
But the A-bomb went off too soon, or too whatever, and we never did get to the Pacific.
so when the 376 went to Nebraska, you were still with the 376 then? Or did they move you to another group?
I was with the 376. We went to, it was Nebraska, it was a small town, I forget the
Grand
name.
Island? Grand Island?
No,
But anyway.
well,
but-
whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when we were on the train from Nebraska to Brownsville, Texas, the A-bomb went off.
Okay,
We weren't told about it. We had absolutely no idea what they were talking about when we got off the train. And then the second one went off when we were in Texas. And they didn't know what to do with us after that. So we just hung around, and finally they disbanded us, and that was the end of that.
that was the last. And did you maintain contact with your crew?
For a while we did, then eventually we lost contact. The co-pilot's wife, a very pleasant woman, we kept contact with her, and through her, we kept track eventually of all of the crew.
Okay, and you said you were gonna learn, you said the B-36, did you mean the B-32, the Dominator?
Well, the consolidated faulty version of, the
B-
larger version of the
Yeah, the
B-24.
B-32.
Yeah.
Yeah, did
We-
you actually ever fly in one, or see one, or
I never saw
you
one.
never saw one? Okay, because my dad was learning how to fly it up in Mountain Home,
Oh, yeah.
so did you stay in the Army Air Corps,
No,
was you discharged? Or?
I just waited until I had enough points to get out, and then I went back to high school and finished, and got into civilian work here or there.
Oh, okay. So going back to your history, okay, I think you said it was in 43 that you enlisted,
Yes,
okay, and that was after high school, and you went to gunnery school in
well, it was the summer of '44,
summer 44, and you went to gunnery school, I think you said Fort Myers,
Fort Myers, Florida.
okay. Now, is that where they taught you about leading the target? And
Yeah,
all
yeah,
kind of stuff?
rads.
Had you, I've read where men who, or young men or boys, whatever you call them, who hunted when they were younger knew more about leading a target than somebody, say, a city slicker who had never fired a gun before. Was that all new to you?
Oh yeah, that was all new to me.
Okay. And, was that all in the ground at first? I mean, I assume it was on the ground shooting at another ground target?
Well, shooting at those big targets on the ground mostly. We did some where the fighter planes came along with that long taper thing, dragging it,
Uh-huh.
we fired at that.
Did they ever take you up into the air and have to shoot up in the air from a trainer type plane?
Well, yeah, that's when the fighters.
Oh, I
asked
see,
us,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've also read where they used to drive around people in the back of pickup trucks and shoot. at
With
things-
shotguns,
with
yeah.
Shotguns. Did you do that?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
did you?
yes, definitely.
Okay. And how long was your training and how to be a gunner?
Well, I don't really remember. Probably about a month,
Okay.
maybe a month and a half.
Now, were you trained to like operate a radio or do any other things on the airplane? You were
No.
just learn.
I had no other title. One man was the armorer gunner, the radio gunner, and the engineer gunner. But I had no other title other than gunner.
Gunner? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you pick the tail gun or the pilot?
No, they picked it out.
They-
I was told what it was.
Okay. Was there any reason why I assume it was the pilot that said, okay, you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do that?
No. There was just a list put up on the bulletin board, several of them,
No.
pilot, co-pilot, all the way down. And I was at the bottom.
And that was the tail gun.
Maybe because I was a smaller than average person, could fit the turret easier.
Well, I heard the smallest guy went in the ball turret.
Yeah.
Well, he was also named Gordon. He was about my size,
Oh, I see.
Gordon Miller from Cincinnati.
Okay. And I think you also said that there were, the other men that went through the gunnery school with you, did you stay as a group and they end up in the 376? Or?
No, nobody I recognized.
Really?
We just all spread out.
So the minute you went, formed your crew, you never saw your other
No.
training folks again?
No.
Okay. What was it like to be on a mission or life in Italy, or was it?
Well, it was different. Obviously, everything is different, really. The culture, the crops they grow, they grew grapes and they had sheep. The economy of that area of Italy was wool and wine. And, depending on what part of the country here we came from, crops were entirely different.
Where did you come from? I forgot to ask you.
Long Island, New York.
Oh, Long Island, New York.
Yeah.
So the country life was somewhat different.
Quite a bit different, yes.
I see.
And you have to expect it. Of course,
Sure.
every time you go from one post to another in this country, things are different. People are different.
Okay.
Slang is different,
Did you associate much with the locals, with the Italians when you got over there?
No, not too much.
Not too much?
No.
Okay. I think you were mentioning something about guarding the plane in the Azores? Was there
Yeah, the pilot said that there was an awful lot of going on back and forth. Planes were constantly taking off and landing. Anyway, we were all assigned a barracks, and I was the last one that was assigned, and I was assigned to the first one in the next barracks. So I had a bunch of people I didn't know. And then the pilot came along and said he'd like somebody to stay with the airplane all night. So I think, well, here I am with a bunch of people I don't know. So I said, I'll do that. And I slept in that crawl space from the nose to the past the bomb bay. I slept right in there.
Okay, but you were guarding the airplane.
That's correct.
I assume you didn't fall asleep.
Well, I fell asleep. I slept,
Okay,
but there was no way to get in other than through the nose wheel hatch. And
okay,
they'd have had to crawl past me to get to the rest of the airplane.
I see,
So I figured it was a pretty safe deal.
I see.
I wasn't expected to stay awake all night.
Well, interesting about the guarding the airplane, because I remember talking to one of the Halpro guys who flew into Africa, and literally the plane was surrounded by natives with spears, and told to guard the airplane, and he said, I've only got 6 bullets, and I see a lot more than 6 natives. And then he realized that the spears were for the lions, and then he wasn't sure whether he should be more afraid of the natives with the spears or the lions. So I could imagine guarding an airplane could have been a very, very interesting experience. Anything about the missions that you flew that was interesting or memorable? Or?
Well, the only memorable thing I can think of is that on our first mission, the railroad bridge, when we looked in the bomb bay, we're used to these little 100-pound blue bombs,
Uh-huh.
and these things were like bathtubs. And that sort of shook us up.
So you were used to a little practice bomb?
Yeah, that's all we had in Idaho.
Yeah. So did you think the crew worked well together?
We worked very well together.
Okay,
What we would do is we would each get a deck of cards and we'd each play solitaire, but we could work on anybody else's piles. And we figured that sharpens our alertness and our reactions.
okay.
We did that quite a bit. We got along nicely. No fist fights, nothing like that.
But the officers and the enlisted keep separate?
Well, they had officers' quarters. We
Uh-huh.
had our enlisted quarters.
Did you know any of the other air crews very much, or the ground crews at all when you were over there?
Oh, not the ground crews. when we finished the mission, we just, were glad to get out the airplane.
Okay.
I can't say that I could name any of them.
Okay.
Nice guys that they were, doing good work.
Very thankful when the airplane functioned properly.
We had no trouble with the airplane,
Okay.
other than once we hit drop wash and the wing went down. That was scary. We swore there was grass on the wingtip.
Grass on the wingtip.
You know,
Okay, but they were up in the air when the plane
we
did-
were landing.
Oh, you were landing. Oh, I see.
We were in the act of landing. I was kneeling, looking out a little, right next to the bomb bay, the back of the bomb bay. I was looking out, and I said, if we spin around, I'm going out in an escape hatch up there. I had it all planned out in a fraction of a second. That was the only scary thing we ever had.
Now, when the plane took off, you weren't actually in your turret, right? You were in
No,
the middle of the plane?
we stay in the middle of the plane.
And when did you go get into your turret?
Well, usually they would say, well, we're half an hour to the target, and we start getting ready and making sure everything was right, flak suits on and things like that. And then 20 minutes to target, 10 minutes to target. So we would just, we had plenty of time to do what we had to do.
And did you see any fighters on any of
No.
the missions?
Never saw a fighter.
Never. So you never got to fire your guns at
Never
anything?
got to fire my guns in anger.
I see. I assume you fired off some practice rounds while you were.
Well, we fired practice rounds, but nothing in combat.
Nothing in combat?
No.
Okay. So the mission, was there a lot of flak at that point in the
There was a
war?
lot of flak on that first one. Sounded like hail hitting a tin roof, but we came out all right.
Now, since you were the tail gunner, you got to you saw where you were,
Well,
where
we
you had
did.
been, but not where you were going.
That's correct.
So you never, you obviously knew there was flak ahead of you, but you couldn't see it.
That's good. Well, I could see.
Oh,
it.
but you could see the aftermath.
Yeah.
Was it somewhat nerve-wracking to be riding backwards?
Well, no, I was used to that because that's what, even
That's how
in
you
training, that's where I was.
Okay,
That was routine,
okay.
such as it is. Trouble is, when you pass the target, all you can see is smoke. So when they do, ask you how you made out and what you see, and I couldn't give them much help.
So the pilot would ask you can you see if we hit anything? Or,
Well, the whole, I forget the word, right after the mission, when they all get together. And
the
ask you-
debrief?
Debrief, yeah. All I could say was, all I saw was smoke. And that was true, I didn't see a bridge there.
But after the bombs went out, did the pilot ever come back on and say, did we hit it? Or did he
I
ever
don't
ask you?
recall anything like that.
Okay. So you were the new crews placed at the end of the formation?
Yeah, we were tail end Charlie.
Oh, okay. So you got to see lots of blank space behind you.
Yeah, I was the last person over the target in the first mission anyway.
Ah, okay. You said after the war, what did you do after the?
Well, for most of the time after the war, I repaired mechanical calculators
Oh, okay.
for a living. I learned how to fix them and worked for a company called Monroe.
Monroe, I remember them.
And everything was fine till the electronics came along. And then us old guys were useless, more or less. So they were hiring young kids, trained in electronics, and we were sort of just board changers. And that's when the whole industry went flip-flop and they tried to get rid of us. They suggested we go out and get another job. Here we are in our late 50s, what are we gonna do?
So did you go back to Long Island
Oh, yes,
after
yes,
the war?
I worked in New York City.
Or New York City? Okay. Very good. So, any other experiences about your time in the service with the 376 that you'd like to tell us about?
Everything was a good impression, you know, well run. Nothing really unusual.
Mhm. Okay. How long have you been coming to the association? Or hear about the Veterans Association?
Well, I forget exactly what year I got started. In the very beginning, I heard about an association being formed, and I enlisted, I enrolled, and everything was fine. There was a reunion early on that I couldn't get to, and along about this time, we moved from Brooklyn to Long Island, and they lost track of me. I never heard anything more about it for quite a while. Then we had a neighbor move in who was in the 8th Air Force. He was the tail gunner on a B-17. He was shot down on his 14th mission. He was a POW. And he would go to his bomb group one year and the POW group, reunion group, every other year, you know. And he and I got to talking, and he gave me a phone number to call, and I did. And the 376 contacted me, and I was back in the group again.
Great. Okay.
So then I started with reunions.
Okay. Well,
I don't remember which one was first.
so, but you said earlier you never reestablished contact with Whitaker or any of your other crew members, so.
Well, I know where my bombardier is.
He's still
And
alive?
he's been here. He's been to reunions.
Okay.
Well, there was one time I just had to take a trip and get away from the area where I lived in. So I told my wife I'm going to take a trip. And I went to northern Mississippi looking for the upper gunner. He came from New Albany, Mississippi.
Uh-huh.
And I've lost track of him. And I found the postman who knew him. And he told me he lives in Oxford, Mississippi. Told me how to get there. And I found him in the phone book. So we got together for a day. I have his phone number, but he's not interested in things like this.
Mhm.
The bombardier, I know where he is. I know who's dead. The pilot and the co-pilot are dead. The rest, I just don't know where they are.
That's it.
Have no address.
Well, very good. If there's anything else you want to add or make
No,
me
I
say
really
about?
can't think of much else.
Well, I thank you for your service and thank you for coming here and giving us your
You're quite welcome.
views and thank you.
Take care.
Okay.